I'm John Davis, and this is MotorWeek. Join us for a road test of Kia's bigger and better Sorento midsize utility. Pat Goss shows us how to properly deal with rust in our cars. FYI reporter Stephanie Hart has tips on test driving a car before you buy it. Then we'll burn some rubber in Porsche's 911 Turbo. So come drive with us next.
MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, brought to you by...
You're shopping for tires online, and you have questions.
I do.
We're TireRack.com, and we have answers. And tools to help.
Like our tire decision guide. It's, take a look.
Oh. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Rock Auto has auto parts from hundreds of manufacturers, offering a variety of brands, prices, and specifications. RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need.
As Kia's longtime standard bearer in the midsize SUV field, the Sorento has seen a lot of changes in its 3 generations. But now with a larger Telluride in the mix, there's time for even more as the Sorento takes on a new role. So let's find out what that is. While not the first SUV in their lineup, the Kia Sorento is truly one of the vehicles that laid the foundation for Kia's success today. An all-new one arrives for 2021, looking to build upon that foundation with more capability, technology, and refinement than ever, yet does so with an eye on the past. When Kia added the Sorento to their lineup for 2003, they wanted a rugged, capable utility, so even without a pickup truck in their lineup to base it on, they built the Sorento on a full truck-style frame, designed to look like a Lexus but perform like a 4Runner. Those first-gen Sorentos still have quite a following in the off-road community. But following trends, Kia quickly made the shift to a unibody platform for 2011 and has never looked back. Until now. As Kia would clearly like to get back to their former image, although just partially. As with the launch of the 4th-gen Sorento, there's no full frame, but it does have an available X-Line package with an upgraded all-wheel drive system that includes a locking center diff and downhill descent control. Plus 1 inch of additional ground clearance, unique bumpers front and rear, roof rack, and 20-inch matte finish alloy wheels. And indeed, the overall design for all 21 Sorentos is more reminiscent of the original Sorento than current Kia status symbol Telluride. Wheelbase is stretched 1.4 inches over last year. The biggest downside here is that you're not necessarily getting a knockabout off-road spec rig, as you must add the X-Line on top of the lavishly outfitted and pricey top SX Prestige trim. So while the rugged styling elements are in play outside, inside it's very feature-intensive and quite luxurious. Think more Land Rover than 4Runner Sport. That means a 12-inch fully digital gauge display packed with so much info, there's not much reason to look over at the central 10-inch touchscreen when driving. Though gazing at the surround view monitor will certainly help in parking and off-road situations. If you need 3-row flexibility, don't worry, they haven't given that over fully to the Telluride. You still get 3 rows standard here, with either bench or captain's chair in 2nd row, giving 7 or 6 passenger capability. The stretched wheelbase provides a little more room inside for both people and cargo. 12.6 cubic feet behind the 3rd row, 38.5 behind the 2nd, and a max of 75.5 with all seats folded. You will have to step up to the Telluride if you want a V6 engine or to tow more than the Sorento's max of 3,500 pounds, as there's now an all 4-cylinder lineup here, but a comprehensive one. A naturally aspirated 2.5-liter i4 with 191 horsepower is standard, but most Sorentos will likely come equipped with the turbo version of that engine, packing almost 100 more ponies at 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. A 1.6-liter base hybrid is also available with a PHEV coming soon, bringing 30 miles of EV-only range with it. The turbo also comes with an upgraded 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Same setup found in the K5 GT sedan, albeit with a few less horsepower. So equipped, we took our X-Line test rig to the track, attempting to fit runs in between springtime pop-up showers, a damp surface, and a slow 8.9-second launch to 60. In the dry, we know it's at least a second faster. Once we were able to take full advantage of all that torque, things improved a bit, working our way to a 16.7-second quarter mile at 83 miles per hour. Despite the additional inch of ground clearance, there wasn't as much body roll as we anticipated in our slalom course. The Sorento stayed well composed with only mild understeer and refreshingly little computer intervention. Not that there isn't assistance when you need it. 16 Kia DriveWise driver systems available with forward collision avoidance assist standard. And brakes were certainly up to the task, stopping us from 60 in just 100 feet with minor fade but great pedal feel. Government fuel economy ratings are 21 city, 28 highway, and 24 combined. That equals an average energy impact score, consuming 13.7 barrels of oil yearly with 6.2 tons of CO2 emissions. Pricing starts at $30,565, certainly competitive for the segment. All-wheel drive is an $1,800 option for all trims except for SX Prestige, where it's included in the $2,000 X-Line package. With the Telluride now giving larger families a better option, there's room in the Kia lineup for the Sorento to become a little more daring, and Kia has embraced that. The 2021 Sorento still offers the technology, comfort, and features that families are looking for these days, but with an adventure-ready X factor that makes it more desirable than ever. We test drive new vehicles 24/7 here at MotorWeek. But before you take our word for it and before you sign on the dotted line, be sure to test drive that prospective new car or truck yourself. So here's our Stephanie Hart with some advice on what you should be looking for your first time behind the wheel.
These days, we're bombarded with so much information about a vehicle. Videos, photos, and reviews can make a car seem irresistible. But once you take the car out for a spin, you might change your mind. That's why the test drive is so crucial. Especially now, since the test drive as we knew it is gone as a result of COVID-19. At car dealerships across the country, including Brown's Manassas Kia, prospective buyers are going for test drives solo. That means it's more important than ever to know what to watch out for during a test drive, since a salesperson will not be in the vehicle to point out important features.
The test drive is a big part of it. 50% of the part of the purchase is test drive. You want to test drive a car, make sure this is the car you actually buy and it fits your needs.
The best way of doing that is by driving it on a variety of different roads, just like you would in daily life. Carfax recommends driving it more than 10 miles, including taking it on a high-speed roadway.
So you want that vehicle to go over 60 miles an hour. You want to see how it handles. You want to make sure that the steering wheel returns to center after you turn. You want to make sure that if you accelerate quickly on the highway, possibly for passing, that the car handles well. Also, listen for the brakes, check for the brakes. You want to use really all your senses when you're doing a test drive.
While you're at it, park it in a variety of different parking spots, especially if it's a larger vehicle and you're not used to parking an SUV or pickup.
But it is a big purchase and you're spending a lot of money, so you do want to make sure that you feel confident that you didn't miss out on something and that it does handle the way you expect it.
Horsepower is a priority for some, but it may take a back seat for others. Studies show women and millennials have different wants and needs when it comes to the test drive experience.
Safety is number one for every woman coming in, and also they am leaning toward more of beside the safety, They're looking for a space for a family. They're looking for a space for the gadgets, that they have a hands-free gadgets.
The latest tech plays a major role for many buyers. Features like automatic braking, adaptive cruise control, wireless charging, and heads-up displays. During your test drive, you'll want to learn everything you can about the vehicle's infotainment center, and make sure to test it with your cell phone. You want to make sure you're comfortable with the technology and it has everything you need. It's also smart to test the vehicle for comfort. Try driving in your heaviest winter apparel. Then be honest with yourself. Does it meet your expectations?
Maybe try sitting in the back seat as well and make sure it's comfortable too, because you want your loved ones and people that you're going to have in your vehicle, they're going to be sitting in those other seats. Make sure that it is what you're looking for.
And go the extra mile and try out a vehicle's cargo space. That's right, put things you would normally use back there and see if everything fits.
Are you going to be transporting large items, or do you have a dog, or are there different things? Do you have a stroller that you need to fit in the back? So those are things you want to take into consideration.
In today's uncertain world, car buyers are very different than buyers a year ago.
Today's buyer is more time efficient. People want to come in and spend the least amount of time in a dealership.
Understandably so, with COVID-19 still circulating. However, a car is a major purchase. So take your time on a test drive. Spend about a half hour to 45 minutes sizing up the vehicle. And ideally, schedule a few test drives back to back so you can compare different vehicles while everything is still fresh in your mind.
The original Hell Drivers were a fearless group of car-crazy entertainers who traveled the racetracks and state fairs of America. While the stunts gave the appearance of wild craziness and danger, each gag was carefully planned.
When it comes to rust in your car, what you can't see is usually a lot worse than what you can. So let's head over to Goss's garage for advice on how to deal with it.
Now, here's something you might not be familiar with, but it could be your car's best friend. It is the 1-2 power washer. Now, what are we dealing with here? Well, we're dealing with a way to help prevent damage to the car like this. This is rust. And, of course, you don't want to see that on your car. But everybody has the mistaken idea that coats of wax and all these different things on the outside of the car, that it's going to prevent rust, and it doesn't. Rust doesn't occur from the outside in, it occurs from the inside out. Now, behind here, you'll find that there's another panel. Those two panels, the outer one and the inner one, are very close together. And that means that dirt and grime from the road and so on collects over years and miles and builds up in there and fills that little channel. Well, that means that that dirt can hold moisture. Moisture gets in there and it's held against the metal and eats away at the inside of the metal. Eventually, you'll start to see bubbles, then you'll see rust like this. Then you'll see as the rust progresses, it'll go up under the paint and you have a massive hole in your body panel, a fender, a quarter panel, whatever it is, even the doors. So by using a pressure washer, you can sometimes get up into those areas and flush that dirt away. And by doing that, you help prevent the moisture that causes the rust. Now, suppose you've already missed that boat. All right, what do? Well, you can go on the internet and you can find all sorts of different things that tell you how to repair rust with Bondo and all these different things that you might do. But there's only one thing that is even semi-permanent, and that's replacing the sheet metal. So if you want it to be permanent, you have to learn how to cut and weld sheet metal and then how to finish it off. But even then, you need to get rid of the dirt that caused the problem in the first place. Because if you don't, in short order, it'll rust through your new metal as well. And if you have a question or a comment, drop me a line right here at MotorWeek.
Our MotorWeek 40th anniversary car of the week is this 1994 Chevrolet Caprice Classic Wagon. Pauline Janess from Manchester, New Hampshire, has only driven her station wagon about 70,000 miles since new. Her fondest memories are of packing it full of family for trips to the beach. Submit photos of your fabled family hauler for Car of the Week consideration to MotorWeek at pbs.org. Time now to hit the start button and fire up a new round of Quick Spin.
High tech and high performance are a given in today's crop of high-end, fully electric luxury sports sedans. But leave it to Audi to finally add stunning style into the mix. Yes, the 2022 Audi e-tron GT looks as good sitting still as it does streaking to 60 in under 4 seconds. The standard e-tron GT comes with front and rear electric motors for all-wheel drive, but rather than a true split, the rear motor with 429 horsepower is almost twice as powerful as the front, giving the heavy rear bias feel that sports sedan faithful crave. Max output is 522 horsepower, but a carbon fiber clad RS version cranks that up to 637 thanks to an even more powerful rear motor. It gets to 60 in only 3.1 seconds. Maximum range is expected to be just shy of 240 miles.
Getting to 60 so quickly is the result of instant torque from the e-tron GT's electric motors, but it's also the grit that the all-wheel drive system provides, and even further, the speed at which it sends power between the two axles. Audi says it's capable of reacting in just a few thousandths of a second, about 5 times quicker than a mechanical quattro drivetrain. Yet another benefit of electrification.
The e-tron GT is about the same length as an A7, yet sits lower and is wider, with exaggerated fenders wrapped tightly over standard 20-inch wheels. Inside, the rising center console lends the same feel as the Porsche Taycan, but Audi keeps many controls in place, shunning the typical EV control tablet interface. Audi would prefer you keep it vegan and enjoy the well-crafted recycled materials, but will cover everything in Nappa leather if you prefer.
There's a focus on sustainability, yet nothing has been sacrificed. Luxurious materials make up the cabin and scream comfort. There's a variety of sophisticated and spectacular textures and digital displays throughout the angular dashboard. And Audi says the e-tron GT is spacious even for passengers sitting in the back seat.
Essentially, the 2022 Audi e-tron GT combines the hardware technology of the Porsche Taycan with the design attributes of Audi's R8 supercar, all for a starting price of just under $100,000. Stay tuned for more Audi e-tron GT info soon, right here on MotorWeek.
Electric SUVs like the upcoming iX are one thing, but when it comes to BMW, a true sports sedan will be necessary if they expect most of their buyers to buy into the EV lifestyle. This 2022 BMW i4 is a fully electric 4-door Grand Coupe style sports sedan that will feature a base model with expected range of up to 300 miles and an M performance model with over 500 horsepower to achieve 4-second 0 to 60s.
BMW isn't exactly a stranger to electrification, as we've tested quite a few of their plug-in hybrid electric models that they offer, but the i4 is built specifically as an EV. So I'm excited to see how BMW takes their all-electric powertrain and mixes it with the 4 Series platform to create what looks to be a really exciting luxury EV sedan.
The look is not that unlike the current 4 Series Grand Coupe, but with enhanced aero and lots of blue highlights. The rest of the details are still to come, but expect a major departure from what you're used to from BMW inside. Stay tuned to MotorWeek as we'll have plenty more on the 2022 BMW i4 before it goes on sale here in the US early next year.
If you saw this year's MotorWeek Driver's Choice Award episode, you'd know that the Porsche 911 Turbo S earned a Best Dream Machine award. That's because every time we drove it, it felt like a dream come true. Well, now there's a new base 911 Turbo, and as you're about to see, it's anything but a basic sports car. If you love the idea of the Porsche 911 Turbo S, but are a little more frugal-minded, or perhaps you prefer a more leisurely pace to life and just don't need to get to 60 in less than 2.5 seconds, well, for you, the standard 2021 Porsche 911 Turbo has arrived. Following the Porsche tradition of ever evolving, the big news here is there really isn't any big news. Just the latest step in its continual refinement that puts it slightly better than its predecessor in every category, yet just shy of the Turbo S when it comes to on-track performance. So getting right to the track, cool temperatures and a damp surface would hamper just about any car in the quarter mile, but the 911 Turbo is built for these conditions and didn't appear affected by the weather or track situation at all. Launch control seems to take everything into account and delivers maximum power exactly where it needs to be. The rear tires broke traction ever so slightly, but we never felt a need to lift off the throttle. Just added a little steering input and let this all-wheel drive Porsche process us to 60 in, you guessed it, just 2.5 seconds. PDK transmission only in the Turbo, and it fires through gears with mil-spec precision, not so much changing gears as forcing the next one on you. It took only 10.8 seconds to clear the quarter mile, and your senses say you are indeed traveling at 130 miles per hour, yet stable as can be. That's just 0.3 slower than the Turbo S, and not bad considering it's working with about 70 less horsepower here, but with 32 more than the previous Turbo at 572. This twin-turbo 3.8-liter flat-six cranks out 553 pound-feet of torque. Our slalom course was no real test of this turbo's limits, obviously, as it carved it up with ease. But it was enough for us to experience its mild tendency to understeer, easily managed with corrective steering and timely throttle lifts. Of course, aided by good steering feel and hardly any roll. While in its basic form, the 911 Turbo does occupy the gap between lesser 911 coupes and the Turbo S. But this being Porsche, there are plenty of add-ons for both inside and out to take it in whichever direction you want. Virtually nothing's out of bounds here. Carbon fiber roof, sport design gloss black trim, upgraded sport suspension, sport exhaust system, front axle lift system, upgraded 20 and 21-inch wheels, LED matrix headlights, lightweight glass sports seats, GT steering wheel, and carbon fiber interior trim. They're all obtainable and barely scratch the surface of the customization options available to you. If you do a lot of driving at night, Porsche's Night Vision Assist is a worthy upgrade, spotting a deer and warning us before we could see it ourselves. Best to use it sparingly though, as the display can be distracting to leave on all the time, and its location in the gauge panel does require a bit of attention. Not that any of that stuff is necessary to enjoy the 911 Turbo, as virtually everything mechanical has been upgraded over last year. Front track is wider by more than 1.5 inches. The all-wheel drive system sends more power to the front wheels than ever before. Rear axle steering is now standard and brakes are larger. Aerodynamics are enhanced to harness as much downforce as possible, as well as funnel air to both feed and cool the engine. The front splitter is now fully active, joining the larger rear spoiler and automatically positioning itself for optimum results. Now, base pricing of $172,150 certainly gives most of us pause, but that's a savings of $32,700 compared to the Turbo S. And if you're seriously considering a 911 Turbo, chances are good you know what you're in for. The 2021 Porsche 911 Turbo is a more seasoned total performance package than ever, yet more special too, idling easily at the intersection of posh and performance. There are faster 911s, sure, but none that are as much of a pure joy to drive on a daily basis as the base, but not basic, 911 Turbo.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, for more Motor Week, including daily news, updates, podcasts, and even complete episodes, cruise on over to pbs.org/MotorWeek. And I hope you'll join us next time for a rundown of our 2021 Motor Week Driver's Choice Awards. Then it's a mini hardtop with maximum performance, the John Cooper Works GP. Till then, I'm John Davis. We'll see you right here on Motor Week.
To learn more about MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, visit pbs.org/MotorWeek. To order a DVD of this program, call 1-800-873-6154. MotorWeek has been brought to you by...
You're shopping for tires online and you have questions.
I do.
We're TireRack.com and we have answers. And tools to help.
Like our tire decision guide. It's, take a look.
TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Rock Auto has auto parts from hundreds of manufacturers, offering a variety of brands, prices, and specifications. RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need.
This program was produced by Maryland Public Television, which is solely responsible for its content.
You're watching PBS.